So here's our overview or outline of what we're going to do in the next 90 minutes, plus your Q&A, of course. We're going to look at some of the standards that are really frequently cited, and in particular the training requirements. You know, I don't know about you, Cindy, but I've always found that a lot of my clients have compliance gaps as well as effective gaps in how much of the training portions and really effective training that they're doing as far as trying to meet their OSHA compliance needs.
I would absolutely agree with that. You know, recently I've unfortunately had to be in the OSHA office with a few of my clients, and a few of the more recent standards or citations were around standards that had training components to it. And what we're finding is that even though they may have attempted to do some sort of training, the level of training or the amount of training that they did not meet the actual intent of the standard.
So they were sort of going through maybe some sort of perfunctory attempt at doing training, checking off a box, handing out tests at the end, but that really wasn't meaningful training from OSHA's standpoint. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've got some helpful references here. The ANSI Standard Z490 that's been around for quite some time and has been updated in the last couple of years is a really good reference for people. One that's been around, it's certainly not, this next one, not at all specific to either OSHA or Environmental Health and Safety, Bloom's taxonomy about active training. We will take a look at as well. Everyone that does training should know at least the basics of that. And then from really an overlap between both adult learning principles and what OSHA is really looking for these days is what makes for truly effective training. And that sounds like that was really the crux of the matter for your unfortunate client, Cindy.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And OSHA actually has started to insert the word effective into the training requirements. They did that in the not most recent revision to HASCOM, the one that just came out, but the one before that several years ago. So they're really looking for that. So we hope to be able to give you a lot of resources. Our professional safety journal has had many articles on training techniques, including in this last one about multi-generational training. That's an area that Cindy has done quite a bit of work in as well. And so we've taken a lot of the different materials and all from that and are presenting those to you today. And then in addition to that, looking at what are some of the OSHA resources. So we thought we'd start with this quote, and both Cindy and I just love quotes. Hopefully you do as well. Yep. Good quotes, right? So this one dates way back, as you can see, Abigail Adams. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended to with diligence. So,
and I like that quote from the standpoint that the attended to with diligence. I think it's not only on the part of the student or the person that's has to go through the training, but also on the part of the person putting the training together. And that's part of what we're talking about with the effective training techniques and some of the issues where OSHA has been fighting different companies, because if you don't take the time to put your training together up front, then these are obviously the types of issues you could deal with down the line.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, one question that I could easily anticipate, and I don't really have a good answer for it, I don't know about you, Cindy, is I often get asked the question, how long would you say it takes to put together an average course? Like if you're doing an 8-hour course, a one-day course, how much time should I plan on using or needing to do that? That might be an interesting question to throw out to the group. Feel free to feel free to put it into your chat, just how many hours of time, if you were putting together, as Cindy's saying, you really need to put something together with diligence, with ardor, with feeling and passion. For an 8-hour course, how much time are you going to take to put that together?
And it may be even simpler to break it down for some folks if you think about if you're going to be teaching an hour in the classroom, how much prep time should that hour take you outside the classroom? And that would be great if there's some of you folks out there that would want to put those responses in the chat box. That'd be wonderful to see. So we'll go ahead and move on while they may be responding. So what we're looking at here with the MFCs, or the most frequently cited, this is straight off of the OSHA webpage for fiscal year 2011, and we've combined both the construction and the general industry standards that were cited. And if you take a look at the citations that they have here, the standards that they have here, almost every single one, I think there's three specifically, that don't, in the regulation that's cited out in the parentheses, have training requirements, but all of the other 7 have specific training requirements in the regulation. The 3 that don't, specifically the number 6, electrical wiring methods, and number 9, electrical general requirements, those specific standards of 303 and 305 don't have training requirements specifically in the standard. But as we all know, you have to train your folks with regards to number 5, lockout, tagout, if they're going to be dealing with the electrical. So there's a very tight tie-in for the training. The other one that doesn't specifically have it is, I believe, the number 1, the scaffolding. The standard of 451 does not specifically cite training, but in 454 it does reference back to the training.
I am so glad you didn't quiz me on that, Cindy, because I'm sure I would have failed. I was looking at the list, and I'm thinking, I know they all deal with training, but the specific ones, I'm really not sure. So I'm so glad you covered that well.
Yeah.
It is, as Cindy's saying, though, it is so true that in all of these standards, there's always going to be some sort of training requirement.